Hey, Subterranean Maker here. Today we're doing a tool review of this 5-inch random orbit sander. It's the Powerfist brand from Princess Auto here in Canada. Before we get into the tech specs and the review, let's look at my use case and why I bought it. I essentially got this for doing finishing sanding and light material removal on this workbench. If you haven't seen those videos, you can check them out here. The most common sanders and my choices were the belt sander, used mostly for heavy material removal. The orbital sander, also known as a quarter sheet sander, is suited to finishing work but not really material removal. And finally, the random orbit sander, suited to finishing work and light material removal. So this is the sander that fits my use case and is the one I ultimately got. The normal price on this in 2018 was $50 Canadian. Its closest competitors are around the same price point at Lowe's and Home Depot. I managed to get mine for $35 though. Our sander here is a corded model running off of 120 volts AC and drawing a current of 2.2 amps. No mention is made whether this is peak or RMS, but let's give them the benefit of the doubt and assume it's RMS. As power equals voltage times current, this unit has a power rating of 264 watts. This is the 5-inch 8-hole model, and the discs connect with a hook and loop system, or as I know it, Velcro. It has a dust collection bag, and somewhere else on the box it states, through pad dust collection. Okay, done with the outside, let's see what's inside this box. First is the dust collection bag and frame. These come disassembled when new. The dust collection bag is made of a cloth-like material, and it has an elastic-laden opening that seals on the frame. There's the tool itself, and then a baggie with a user manual and included sanding discs. The included discs are 80, 100 and 120 grit. I didn't know they were included, so I was pleasantly surprised when I opened the box. Although it might seem trivial, it's a big deal to me. This manual is actually written pretty well. Having dealt with horrible manuals on cheap tools, it's so refreshing to see a well-written and coherent user manual for a change. Let's look at the tool in more detail. Picking it up, it isn't really heavy. It's hard to describe the weight. It's light, but it's just heavy enough to become uncomfortable during prolonged vertical use. The materials and construction feel solid. These casing parting lines line up nicely. The palm grip has a rubber insert which does a good job of providing grip. I'm pleased to see the power switch has a dust protection cover on, something its competitors don't have. It seems like this company really wants their tool to last. The power cord is reasonably long at 2 meters and it has a 2-blade prong at the end. The dust collection frame is made flimsier than the rest of the tool, but it has the pro that it's easier to install the dust collection bag onto this. The frame has an O-ring here on its tip to seal against the tool. The first task I gave this tool was to remove a fair amount of material, and it performed admirably, as you can see in this clip taken from the table build video. If you haven't seen those videos, check them out in the description. The second task for the sander was to prepare the tabletop for the finish. This can be seen in part 2 of the build videos in the description. Here it performed very well too. The feel of my tabletop is very smooth. These 220 grit discs are so light that it doesn't remove much material at all. It's so light in fact that it didn't even remove the pencil marks at the bottom of my table. And that just bears testament to how versatile this tool is. On the one end of the spectrum you can remove quite a bit of material, and on the other end you can get light finishing sanding done. Replacing a disc is easy. These discs just stick onto the face, like so. The correct way of using this is to put the disc on your workpiece, then with your palm on the rubber pad, you can turn on the machine. If you do lift it up, you'll hear the motor speed up. Rather switch the machine off and restart it than forcing the increased wheel speed into the workpiece. I don't believe the tool is designed for those load cases and it can gouge your workpiece. The dust collection system works reasonably well, but there's still a good amount of airborne dust. Remember to use a dust mask when using the sander. Let's see how much dust this thing captured during the table build. Teardown of the tool is pretty simple. You just remove these 6 screws. With the screws loosened, you can just pull the casing apart. All the connections are made with blade connectors that are heat shrinked, and that's pretty nice. They made an effort here. The cheapest way would have been just to solder them and go, but this is much better. I'll remove the connectors to get final separation of the two halves. So there we have the two halves of the casing and all the internals. It's probably not easy to see, but the bearings of the motor rest here, and the brushes are located here and here within the casing. Looking at the motor, we have two bearings, one at the top and one at the bottom, and that's pretty standard, but what's nice about these bearings is that they have rubber seals on both ends. This prevents dust from entering the bearing and contaminating it and wearing it out prematurely. I'm glad to see they made the right design choice here. There's nothing really special about the stator except that the brushes come in these kind of non-standard pre-molded casings. The brushes didn't really show any wear and were still in good condition. The dust collection fan here is made of some cast metal, and the other fan is plastic. Both seem to be defect free and of good quality. I got a fright when I saw this gouge in the rotor, but then I realized it's an intentional removal of material to balance the shaft. Now I can remove the pad from the rotor. Just remove these 4 fasteners and it comes right off. Alright, so this is where the oscillation magic happens. At the bottom of the rotor, we have this washer that's mounted off-center. The result of this is if we spin the rotor, it looks as though the washer moves up and down and from side to side. That side to side and up and down oscillation is then transferred from the washer into the disc. The disc has a soft pad which presses against the oscillating washer and screw, and that is how the so-called random orbit motion is achieved. I don't know what this pad should look like and whether it's already worn a bit, but if I had to make a guess, this is where the tool will wear out first. I say this because it's metal to some soft material contact. Overall, I'm really impressed with the construction of this tool. They didn't use the easiest, cheapest way to build it. I'd be really interested to see how long it lasts, but I think it should last a decent amount of time. I'm very happy with my little Powerfist sander. It fulfills the needs of my use case, which is to remove material and provide finishing sanding. In fact, it exceeded my expectations in how versatile it is. At the $50 price point, it does have some competition. I don't have experience with the competition, but I can comfortably recommend this tool, especially after having dug around inside, and as we saw, it was well built. Replacement discs are $5 for a 5-pack, so even with the consumables considered, this tool can fulfill your sanding needs on a budget. I give this a 4 to a 4.5 star rating. The only area where it fell a bit flat was in dust collection. And that's it for this review. If you'd like to support the channel, continue to watch videos over here. Subscribe over there, and I'd love to hear from you in the comments.